welcome your goddamn face back to another video. How long till Spider-Man PS4? Well, your goddamn face will see Spider-Man PS4 in exactly 35 days, 13 hours, 35 minutes, and 43 goddamn seconds as I'm making this video. Obviously, time will change, basic logic. But today, I have already shared some cool-ass details in the previous video, and since then, I'm still sweating with absolute hype. If you guys are super hyped up for this game, drop a big fat like on this video. But we already know that Insomniac are having this, top secret thing going on that they want to hold until the game's released. That might actually be a massive plot twist for Peter Parker. If you missed that video, the link is in the description below. But Andrew Rayner also revealed a bunch of new details from general gameplay situations, new suits in the game, and just seriously, I need to dive straight into this. Let me start off with Mary Jane Watson. Now, there's not a whole bunch I really have to say, but we know when you do play as Mary Jane, your gameplay experience is completely different. You're gonna get more of a stealthy gameplay experience as opposed to if you're Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man. Well, web swinging out of situations is definitely the way to go sometimes, but I think playing as Mary Jane is going to be such a cool thing to do because you're just going to have a whole new character that won't be able to do things Spider-Man can, and simply, you're going to have more rewards, I guess you could say, because you can do certain things that obviously another character won't be able to do. But one of the most interesting things that Andrew Rayner did point out, at least in this article anyway, is that web swinging is actually disabled in some areas. Now, he said in some interior sections with lower ceilings, Spider-Man won't be able to web swing. Now, this caught me off guard as I was using web swinging as an evasive tactic in outdoor battles and suddenly couldn't use that technique in parts of the Fisk Tower. Now, the ceiling height in some areas where I couldn't web swing appeared to be around 20 to 25 feet. Now, bravo, Insomniac Games. Honestly, this is gonna add to the challenge like times 1,000 because at this stage, it's not even an option. It is just there no matter what difficulty you're playing on. Some areas simply won't allow you to web swing. Now, like I said a few seconds ago, alright? I don't know about you guys, but with me, if I can't beat anyone in the game, I will web swing my ass out of that situation and then return either A, when I have, some more health, or B, simply when I figure out some type of tactic. Usually, I just go in blind and hope for the best, but knowing that this is going to make your gameplay experience so much more challenging and make you think on the spot as well, definitely add to that stealthy kind of gameplay experience like I was saying with Mary Jane, is going to be absolutely insane because it's going to have thoughts behind every move you will make, because you might just want to go in all blazing, right? You want everyone to know Spider-Man is in the goddamn building, but then you might want to literally be like a spider. Sometimes you see them, and when you don't see them, 90% of the time, it is a bad thing. It's just a standard, rule of life, I guess. Now, side missions in the game have already been revealed so many times. There's a bunch of different ones, okay? Now, in a nutshell, all these story missions will appear as yellow icons in the map, and then there's the blue ones, which is basically the side missions. Now, when you think side missions, I don't know about you guys, but my perspective is always chaos. It's always going to be something interesting. It's always going to contain a chase or some super badass, explosive shit, I guess you could say. But in this case, Andrew Rayner said he came across a very odd one. So he didn't go too much in depth, and more or less he left it on a big teaser, but it was a woman called Stephanie and she was obsessed with something in the park. She basically asked for Spider-Man's assistance, and then everything goes south and hell breaks loose. And then God knows what happens then, because Andrew literally just left that on one big ass freaking cliffhanger. I mean, continue the story in the comment section below. Was it a cat she was obsessed with? Who the heck knows? Now, leveling up in the game is a good thing, because I mentioned in the last video, I think it was something like level 50 you have to get to unlock everything, but at level 50 there's a bunch of stuff that is still yet to be revealed. And obviously there's no cheating your way to get that. So this kind of merges with the skill tree as well, but just to start with the leveling up, Andrew did say almost everything Spider-Man does in the game nets the player experience points. And when you get enough XP, you basically get a message appear on screen alerting you that a new level has been reached, kind of like a standard thing in games, right? And then the milestone will reward you with a skill point that then you can use to go ahead and gain a new power. So each level also rewards you with a set bonus. So for example, Andrew says he reached level 3 and his melee damage increased by 10%, and at level 5 he earned a 10% health boost. Now, powers in terms of like suits and gadgets cannot be unlocked unless the player reaches specific levels. So like I said, going to that level 50 situation, but in this case he said, for instance, to improve the impact web gadget, you'll need to reach level 10 to up the knockback range, and then level 15 for the maximum number of shots, and then level 20 to increase the knockback range again, etc, etc. So it's just like a continuous thing where you're having to play the game to level up to be able to be this powerful superhero, I guess you could say. Moving on to the skill tree, I mean, there's a lot of like different details out there, but he says when skill points are earned, the player can exchange them for abilities that fall into 3 categories. So you've got the Innovator, Defender, and Web Slinger. Now, the latter deals with web swinging and city traversal, and the Defender is exactly what you would expect, and the Innovator is mostly focused on the improvisational stuff like throwing items. So the inductory powers in each category require 1 skill point, but you'll eventually run into others that require more. Of course, the more you level up, it increases your skills. Again, it's just kind of like standard things. We were told originally that, you know, the charge jump wouldn't be in the game, but like in the previous gameplay, it says you won't be able to use charge jump right away. However, you will have to first unlock it with the web slinger skill path. And he didn't get to test it out in his playthrough, but he did see a video of it, and all the skills have teaser videos pretty much. And in this clip, Spider-Man ducks down for a second and then launches himself high into the air, and that again just looks super badass. And you're going to be able to get all this XP stuff by doing things that you can see in the gameplay in the background, by just, you know, doing skills mid-air, doing air tricks, I guess you could say, web swinging your way through New York City, just doing cool stuff. Alright, so it's nice to know that with standard stuff, like whilst you're on your way to a mission or a side mission, you got, you know, time to just get XP given to you like absolutely nothing. And I mentioned in the last video there's going to be tokens. Now, me and Caboose crazily predicted this in a video we done together, and it's going to have 6 different categories. So you got the research, landmark, base, crime, challenge, and the backpack, and you basically use the currency to build the suits, gadgets, and powers. Now, in regards to the suits, okay, there are a bunch out there. Okay, we got the classic, the damaged one, and then you got the standard classic, the web blossom one. You've got the noir suit and the scarlet spider and spider armor MK2, and you guys will see like pictures as I mentioned those as well, and they look super cool. Now, in regards to like each suit power, don't forget we can mix and match what suit will have what power. Like, you don't necessarily have to be wearing that suit, which is great because it's not restricting you to do that one thing. And another really cool thing, before I go on to like gadgets and so forth, right, is about, you know, the city in general, and I guess you could say like the customization. In the game, we know when you change a suit, it will actually make a difference in the cutscene, but depending on the time and day in the game, will actually, you know, be dependent on what another person in the cutscene, for example, is wearing. So the small details to this is going to be great. We've seen night gameplay, but like only web swinging. We haven't seen pure, you know, walking on the ground raw gameplay as such, I guess you could say. So it's going to be interesting to see how people will be with that. In terms of weather conditions as well, it's going to be great to see. And, you know, when it's super hot, people will be in t-shirts, I'm assuming. When it's raining, people will be wrapped up appropriately. Now, with gadgets, there's 2 main things that he did point out, and the first one is Concussive of Blasts. Now, Spider-Man unleashes what appears to be a sound wave that knocks enemies back, just like a force push, and you can unlock this gadget at level 10 with 2 challenge and 3 crime tokens. And then the next one after that is the suspended matrix. It already sounds badass, but this wild piece of technology basically lifts your enemies into the air and keeps them suspended for a few seconds, and it's a higher level addition, so you need to be at like level 25 I think to get that. And again, you're gonna need like 4 challenge tokens and then 2 base ones as well. So like all of these tokens are seriously gonna, you know, have such a massive impact to the game, which is fantastic because it's something to work to, and that alone is what makes a great gameplay experience. In my opinion, again, I really do like the idea and how they have worked out with these things. Now, just to kind of recap with the suit stuff, because like I know people still get confused about the mods and so forth, but it says you can have 3 suit mods active on most suits. So these range from things like ballistic inserts, which will reduce incoming bullet damage, of course life support I guess as well, and enhancement that will automatically consume some of the focus bar to heal you when you are on the verge of death. So there's multiple things that you can mix and match more or less. So again, going back to what I was saying earlier, it's not just going to tie you down to one thing in the game in terms of like how you want to look, but at the same time you got that flexibility, and that alone is going to be great. Now, there's so much more that Andrew Reiner did, you know, reveal in terms of the city in general, the landmarks as well, because it's going to be secret landmarks. He said he used the camera for like 5 minutes, I think, to snap photos of people on the streets, and then the skyline. He said he took a photo of a building that ended up being a secret landmark. He had no idea, of course, that secret landmarks at the time he took the picture were even in the game, and he said for the sake of spoilers he's not gonna, you know, reveal what the particular building was, but there's so many buildings in the game that have already been there. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's already there, that you just know how much cool shit it's gonna be in the game. Now, there's a bunch of different things when it comes down to saving the game, the difficulty in the game, the gameplay in general. Like, we already know with the camera, you can pretty much change it at any point during the gameplay. So like, you've got that free camera, I guess you could say, and it's got a lot of flexibility to it. But those are some of the details that we got from Andrew Reiner. Like I said, if you're one of those people that want to be into spoilers, then the article is linked in the description below. But these are the things that really stood out to me. But guys, that is gonna wrap up this video here. Subscribe for more awesome content if you haven't already. If you missed the previous one, the link is in the description below. But you guys have yourselves a ridiculously amazing day, and of course, like I said, subscribe for more awesome content. But until then, adios amigos.